Happy Motivational Monday. I was killing it, but it was really killing me.
This is the 10-Minute Teacher Podcast with your host, Vicki David.
Today we're talking with Dr. Jen Rafferty, founder of the Empowered Educator. She's a former middle school music teacher of 15 years, and she burned out, rebuilt herself, and now she helps teachers protect their joy and their energy. Her book, The Empowered Educator, will come out August 2026. Jen, we're going to talk about emotional intelligence and why taking care of the adults is how we take care of the kids. Why do you think that this emotional intelligence can be such a struggle for so many of us?
It's because none of us were ever explicitly taught how to do this. It's a skill, just like learning how to ride a bike or knowing how to properly put together the dishwasher. It's a skill that we learn. And unfortunately, so much time has passed and we've missed the memo. Brain science that like we're studying now of neuroplasticity and the ability that we have to change our brain hasn't really been part of the conversation until the last 30 or so years. So emotional intelligence and your ability to be malleable in how you are is new. So these skills weren't known, let alone taught by our parents or their parents before them. And this is why it's been such a big part of this conversation right now. And my message, of course, is to amplify those skills, particularly for teachers, since we spend so much time with our kids and we have such a big influence on how they grow up in this world.
And for those of you listening who think, no, just another soft thing, I've been working on my next book, and as I have a piece on emotional intelligence, but businesses that have emotionally intelligent leaders tend to be more profitable than those that don't. So emotional intelligence is actually a very real world thing that we all need. So how do you address that, Jen? It's real. We need emotional intelligence. What does the neuroscience say?
Is showing us that we have this beautiful ability to be flexible in how we show up, that we're not fixed in our personalities, we're not fixed in our choices and our beliefs, even in our values. The saying, I just am the way I am, that's actually not true. The science shows us that you are who you think you are. And if you're able to adjust the way that you think, then everything starts to change for you. And who you were is no indication of who you can be. So to put this in a real life example, if you're someone who goes to work completely stressed out every day, this isn't just change your thoughts and think happy things and everything will magically change for you. It's leaning into your neurobiology, understanding that that stressful way you feel might not feel good, but to your system, it feels normal. So it's going to keep you that way because it's trying to keep you safe, and normal equals safe. But if you're trying to move into a place of feeling at ease and calm or even excited about going to work, that requires you to look at your thoughts and know that your thoughts are options and not facts. And it also invites you to lean into listening to the signals that your body is sending you all the time and start paying attention and making different choices so that you can become someone different.
Now, you faced burnout. What's your story?
So at the time, I don't think I would have even admitted to feeling burnt out because I was so in it that part of that burnout was part of my identity. So many of us walk around with this badge of honor of how little sleep we get and how busy we are. And my struggle was part of who I thought I was. And I was at what I considered to be the top of my career. I had published my first book about teaching music. I was giving presentations all over the country about the cognitive development of adolescent kids and how to create responsive classroom materials and curriculum for them. And I was killing it, but it was really killing me. My marriage was falling apart. I wasn't sleeping well. I was a new mom. And I thought there was something wrong with me because I didn't feel like I could handle it. So what did I do? I did what everyone does, numbed myself, ate a lot of chocolate. I zhuzhed my feelings down. And ultimately, the signals that were coming from my body kept getting louder and louder. I was constantly sick. My back was going out with debilitating pain. And I had developed these red splotches all over my skin that 7 doctors could not tell me what was wrong with me. It turned out all of this was stress related. It wasn't until recently, Vicki, that I looked back and I was like, oh, that was burnout. And I couldn't even see it for what it was. My mission now with the work that I do in Empowered Educator and with my book is to give teachers a lifeline even when they might not recognize it fully for themselves. They can maybe identify a symptom or something they're going through that they can pull onto.
So you do talk about burnout to balance, but some are like, well, the only way I'm going to have balance is if I don't teach. Is it possible to stay a teacher and move from burnout to balance? And if so, how?
That is such a good question. Yes. And the reason why I can say yes with such fervor is because I've seen it thousands of times with the educators that we work with. Life is always going to be lifey, whether you're in the classroom or not. It's always going to throw things at you, and there will always be challenges and stressors. While yes, there are going to be some stressors in your life that you decide you're not available for, and that might inform your decision to leave. And there are other ways to function in this life, to meet the moment as the person you want to be instead of a victim to your own circumstances. And that's what we really do here at Empowered Educator. And it really outlines in the book, that moment between what's happening externally and your reaction. There is a moment, there's a space there. And that space is where all your agency is. And we forget, or we haven't even been taught or told that we have that power, that we have that agency. So when you get that angry email, or when you have that challenging student, identifying that space and knowing what choices you have in that space make all of the difference between a burnt out teacher who is perpetually feeling overwhelmed and exhausted and frustrated to an empowered teacher who knows their agency and knows I can meet this moment as the person I want to be instead of the person who I've always been.
So Jen, you're talking to somebody, they're listening to you in the car, and they know they're right there. They're burned out, they're worn out. They don't really want to go to school tomorrow. What's one thing that they can do right now when they get out of the car and they slam the door that can help them move towards balance?
It's a great question because it's a big leap to go from I'm sick of this and slamming the door and going inside your house to I'm going to feel empowered, right? This isn't a magic pill. This is not something that happens overnight. And so there needs to be baby steps. And I'm going to actually give 2 because they go together. The first one is give yourself grace. Give yourself grace. There is nothing wrong with you. The responses that your body is giving you and that stress, it's there for a reason. That's your biology telling you, hey, pay attention to me. I need attention. And it's actually working really well. The problem happens when we fight it. And so leaning in and give yourself grace. Of course I'm feeling like this. Look at all of these things that are happening. Of course I'm feeling like this. And when you give yourself grace, then there's one thing that you can do that I know changed my life is give yourself permission to move and speak and go through your day 10% slower, just 10%. When you give yourself permission for that 10% less busyness and rushing and hustling, you start to notice things that you hadn't noticed before. That's so interesting. I feel like I immediately need to respond to this text messages. Wait, no, I don't. I'm going to go 10% and I can take a moment. And what that's going to do, it's going to make that space that I just talked about longer. Try it. And don't try it forever. If you're listening to this in the car, try it the rest of today and see what happens. And if you like it, try it again tomorrow. That's going to change everything for you.
Give all our teachers a little bit of a pep talk as they deal with the challenges of teaching.
I think sometimes, again, well-intended folks are giving the pep talks without validating how they feel right now. I think it's similar to when administrators say, well, just remember your why. You can't be in a place of burnout and have all of these feelings of overwhelm and frustration and like slamming the door when you get home of your car and then just remember your why back into your inspiration. It doesn't work that way. Bridging that gap means validating your feelings, remembering that you have agency and making choices that feel aligned with who you want to be, not who you currently are.
So many things we could talk about here. We have been talking with Dr. Jen Rafferty. Her book, The Empowered Educator, coming out August 2026. So, Jen, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you for tuning in to the 10-Minute Teacher Podcast. Join us here every weekday and subscribe to the Classroom Matters newsletter. See you later, educator.